Hey everyone, welcome back to Policy Pulse. I'm Alex, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jordan.
Hey, Alex. Hey, listeners. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been all over the news: Trump's new tax bill, which just passed the Senate. It's been called a big, beautiful bill by some and a disaster by others. So let's break it down and figure out what it means for you.
Absolutely. This bill is packed with tax cuts, new spending, and some big controversies. We'll cover what's in it, who it helps, and why it's got everyone talking. Ready, Jordan?
Born ready. Let's get started.
Mean discussion. Overview of the Trump tax bill. So Jordan, let's start with the basics. What's in this bill? From what I've read, it's a mix of extending old tax cuts and adding new ones, plus some major spending.
Right. The core of it is extending the 2017 tax cuts, which lowered income tax rates for a lot of folks. Those were set to expire, and this bill keeps them in place to avoid what some call a tax hike. It also adds new breaks, like no tax on tips, Social Security, or overtime pay.
Those sound like wins for workers, service industry folks, retirees, people working extra hours. But there's more, right? Like deductions for businesses and car buyers?
Yep, there's 100% expensing for U.S. investments, which is a big deal for businesses, and interest deductions for buying American-made cars. Plus, they're tweaking the SALT cap, that's the limit on state and local tax deductions, which could help people in high-tax states like New York or California.
But here's where it gets tricky. The bill also raises the debt ceiling by $5 trillion, and estimates suggest it could add $3.9 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. That's got some people worried.
Definitely. Supporters say it's worth it to boost the economy, but critics argue it's fiscally reckless. It's a classic trade-off: short-term gains versus long-term costs.
And there's spending too, right? Like on border security and military stuff.
Oh, yeah. Billions for border enforcement, including the border wall, and military projects like the Golden Dome missile defense shield. It's a lot to unpack.
Deeper dive. Tax provisions and their impacts. Let's zoom in on the tax provisions because they're what most people will feel directly. The no tax on tips thing is huge for waiters, bartenders, anyone in the service industry.
Totally. And no tax on Social Security helps retirees keep more of their benefits. The overtime pay break is great for folks working long hours, like in construction or healthcare.
But not everyone's thrilled. Some analyses, like one from the Congressional Budget Office, suggest the wealthiest Americans could gain about $12,000 a year from this bill, while the poorest might lose $1,600 in disposable income.
That's a big point of contention. The business deductions, like that 100% expensing, lean toward corporations, and the car purchase deductions might not help people who can't afford a new car. The SALT cap change also tends to favor higher earners in high-tax states.
So it's like a mixed bag. Some folks get a break, but the benefits might not be evenly spread. What do you think, Jordan? Is this bill delivering for the average American?
Honestly, it depends on who you ask. If you're a tipped worker or a retiree, you might love it. But if you're relying on certain government programs, you might be worried about what's coming next. Speaking of which, let's talk about the spending cuts.
Counterpoints, spending cuts, and controversies. The bill's spending is a big deal, but so are the cuts to pay for it. There's about $1 trillion in cuts to programs like Medicaid, which could see an 18% reduction. That might mean millions lose coverage.
Yeah, that's a huge concern. There are also cuts to clean energy programs, which has environmentalists up in arms. Although, fun fact, the Senate dropped a proposed tax on wind and solar projects, and solar stocks like Sunrun and Enphase jumped after that.
That's interesting. The market's reacting already. But politically, this bill is divisive. It passed the Senate 50-50, with Vice President J.D. Vance breaking the tie. Republicans are all in, but Democrats are firmly against it.
Senator Chris Murphy, for example, called it a massive tax giveaway to the rich and powerful on X. He's pointing to those cuts to Medicaid and other programs like food stamps as a deal breaker.
Meanwhile, supporters on X, like @WallStreetMav, are hyping up the worker-friendly parts, like no tax on tips. It's a real split in public opinion.
And that debt increase, $3.9 trillion over a decade, isn't sitting well with fiscal conservatives either. It's like everyone's got a reason to love or hate this bill.
So where does this leave us? The bill's now in the House, where it might get tweaked. Its final shape and impact are still up in the air.
Right. For listeners, this is a moment to pay attention. This bill could affect your taxes, your benefits, maybe even your job. We'll keep tracking it as it moves forward.
Thanks for